The soldier who saved an alien child and found out she was his own daughter. Asterisk, the city burned like a dying star. Smoke rose high into the alien sky. Bright orange flames danced across shattered buildings. Explosions echoed in the distance loud, terrible and endless. The war between humans and the Zoleri had reached the city, and now it was all turning into ash. Jack Mercer, a battle-worn human soldier in his 30s, crouched behind a broken wall. His face was covered in dirt and sweat, his breathing heavy beneath his cracked helmet. He wasn't here to fight anymore. His orders were clear now: rescue civilians, get out alive. His boots crunched over broken glass as he moved. Round him, everything screamed of death: burned bodies, fallen machines, the sharp whine of distant sirens. But then, something different. A sound, soft, weak, a cry. Jack froze. His eyes narrowed. He scanned the debris and rubble with sharp focus. Another cry came, faint, almost drowned by the chaos. Someone's alive, he whispered to himself. He ran toward the sound, weaving through ruins. A large metal beam had collapsed over a pile of stone. There, beneath it, something moved: a small hand, barely visible through the dust. Jack dropped his weapon and knelt. "Hold on," he said, voice calm. "I'm coming." With all his strength, he pushed the beam aside. It groaned heavy, but finally shifted just enough. He reached in. A small alien girl no more than 6 years old lay curled up, her skin pale blue, her hair tangled with ash. Her large violet eyes stared at him, not with fear, but something else, something deep, familiar. "You're safe now," Jack whispered, brushing dust from her face. "I've got you." She didn't speak. She didn't even cry. She just reached out and placed her tiny hand on his chest. And then, without thinking, she grabbed his dog tag. Jack blinked. Her fingers curled around the metal chain like she knew it, like she had seen it before. But that wasn't possible. He had never been to this part of the galaxy. He had never met her. Still, the way she looked at him, it wasn't just survival. It wasn't fear. It was recognition. Jack gently lifted her into his arms. She was light, fragile, covered in scratches, but still breathing. He wrapped her in his cloak and carried her through the burning city. Outside, the ruins, the evacuation shuttle waited. Other soldiers were helping wounded survivors climb aboard. When they saw Jack carrying the alien girl, some raised their brows. One soldier stepped forward. "Jack," the medic said, "she's Zoleri. Command said not to take in alien kids unless they're registered." "I don't care," Jack growled. "She's coming with me." The medic hesitated, then nodded. "Fine, just be careful. We don't know what some of them carry." Jack climbed onto the shuttle and sat down, holding the girl close. She rested her head against his chest, still holding his dog tag. She didn't speak a single word, but she didn't let go. The shuttle lifted into the sky. Below, the city faded into smoke and memory. As the stars filled the windows, Jack stared at the child in his arms. His mind wandered back 6 years ago. A mission on a distant moon. A secret peace operation between humans and alien diplomats. A brief, strange night with an alien scientist, one he never saw again. Could it be? No. It wasn't possible. Was it? Jack looked down at the girl again. She was now asleep, curled in his coat like she had always belonged there. She looked peaceful. Safe. And somewhere deep inside Jack Mercer's heart, a strange feeling started to grow, a feeling stronger than duty. A father's instinct. Asterisk, she never cried, never spoke, never even asked for her name. But every time she looked at Jack, it felt like she remembered him, like she had known him before. The military base was cold, sterile walls, buzzing lights, armed patrols at every turn. But Jack wasn't focused on that. He was focused on her. The little alien girl sat quietly in the medbay corner, wrapped in a soft gray blanket. Her wounds had been cleaned. Her temperature was stable. Physically, she was healing fast. Emotionally, no one could say. She hadn't said a word since they landed. No name. No language. No fear. She just sat there, always looking at Jack whenever he entered, never blinking, never breaking eye contact. "She's not like other kids," the doctor muttered. "Zoleri children usually scream when taken from their kind. She hasn't even flinched." Jack sat, Beside her, unsure of what to say, he had faced alien gunships, sabotage, betrayal, yet now, in front of this child, he felt helpless. He cleared his throat. "You hungry?" She blinked slowly. No answer. He held out a ration bar. Her small hand reached for it, then paused. Instead, she gently touched his dog tag again. Still no words. Still that same haunting stare. Later that night, Jack visited the command center. He wanted answers. He needed to know where she came from. Any ID? He asked the intel officer. No. Registration ship. No known matches in the refugee list, the officer replied. But we're running a deep scan. Her DNA is unique. A blend. Part Solari. He paused. Part human. Jack's jaw tightened. What? The officer tapped his screen. Somebody, somewhere, made this child with both species in mind. That shouldn't be possible unless someone like me. Jack finished the sentence himself. The officer stared at him. You were part of the secret peace mission 6 years ago, weren't you? Jack nodded slowly. His mind raced. A woman with violet eyes, soft voice, smarter than anyone in the room. A memory he buried. A night he never spoke of. He left the command center in silence. The next morning, Jack found her waiting at his door, still silent, still watching. He sighed. Okay, little one, let's go for a walk. He took her outside the barracks. The wind was gentle. The training field was empty. He knelt beside her. I don't know your name, he said, and maybe you don't know mine, but I'm Jack, and something tells me you're here for a reason. She looked up at him. Then as she reached into her blanket and pulled out the dog tag again, not his, hers, engraved in both Solari and English. Ari. Jack's breath caught. She had kept that tag hidden this whole time. She did know her name. She did remember something, or someone. Is that your name? He asked. The girl finally spoke one word, soft like wind through leaves. Dad, asterisk. He thought the past was buried. But a file stamped classified carried more than secrets. It carried the truth of a daughter he never knew, and enemies who would kill to claim her. The morning was silent, but something felt off. Jack woke up to a knock at his quarters, not a casual one. 3 sharp raps, military code for urgent. He opened the door to find 2 guards standing stiffly, their faces unreadable. Sergeant Mercer, you're requested in the intelligence chamber. Immediate clearance, one of them said. Why? Jack asked. No details, sir. The file was marked red tier. You're required now. Jack threw on his uniform and followed them, heart pounding. He already knew this wasn't about a mission. This was about her. About the girl. About Ari. Inside the chamber, the air was heavy. Dim lights, monitors flickered. A large holographic file hovered mid-air, red access code. Jack's name at the top. Next to it, a pulsing DNA helix. Sit, the officer said. Jack did. The commanding officer, General Strayer, stood across from him, hands behind his back. We decrypted the genetic code, he said. Jack kept his face neutral. And she's yours, Mercer. Silence. No uncertainty. 50% human DNA, paternal match. The mother is Solari. Her name was Solarian. She was part of the old peace program 6 years ago on the diplomatic science team. Jack exhaled slowly. He remembered her now, that night in the icy moon lab. Not just politics, but something real, something human. Strayer narrowed his eyes. Why didn't you report contact? It was buried like everything else when the peace treaty failed, Jack said. We were told to forget the entire mission ever existed. Well, the general said grimly. You can't forget her now. Jack's thoughts raced. What did this mean for Ari? Would they take her away, experiment on her, use her for leverage? He spoke carefully. So what happens next? Strayer leaned forward. That's not up to you. What? We've received intel. Multiple Solari factions are searching for her. She may be more than just your daughter, Mercer. She might be an heir to something ancient, something dangerous. You'll be transferred to secure watch until further notice. Jack stood. She's just a child. You don't cage a child. She's not just a child, the officer snapped. She's living proof of forbidden interbreeding, and possibly the key to ending or reigniting this war. Back in the medbay, Ari was drawing quietly on a touch-screen tablet, simple shapes, circles and stars. But when Jack walked in, she looked up with the same calm eyes. He sat beside her. "They want to separate us," he said softly. She tilted her head. "Will they hurt me?" Jack's jaw clenched. "Not if I'm breathing." Ari reached into her pocket again, this time showing him a small hologram. It flickered to life, a blue-skinned woman with gentle eyes, smiling. Syl Ari. Her mother. His heart broke. "She told me," Ari whispered. "You were brave." That night, alarms blared through the base. Breach detected. Sector 4. Jack grabbed his weapon. He knew it. He knew they would come for her. As explosions rocked the compound, Jack held Ari close and ran. Soldiers shouted. Security lights flickered red. But Jack had a single mission now: protect his daughter, even if the whole galaxy stood in his way. He trusted his own people. He thought the military would protect her. But when the sirens wailed and the doors blew open, Jack realized the greatest threat wasn't the aliens. It was coming from inside. Night fell like a curtain of steel. Jack stood in front of the reinforced door, watching over Ari. She was curled up under a thermal blanket, hugging his dog Tag. Her tiny breathing was calm, steady. But Jack's was in single quotes too much silence, too much tension in the air. He hadn't slept, not since the general classified her as a threat. At exactly 0300 hours, Jack's internal alert spiked, a ripple of sound too smooth to be natural. No alarms, no footsteps, but something wasn't right. He grabbed his rifle from the wall and activated silent mode. Then the lights cut. Blackout. No power. Emergency red lights blinked to life, washing the room in blood-colored pulses. Ari woke, eyes wide, sensing fear. Jack scooped her up instantly and whispered, "Don't speak. Hold tight." A loud boom cracked from the hallway. The steel door buckled. Someone or something was trying to break in. He moved fast, exiting through the side duct he had memorized 2 nights ago. He never trusted the facility completely. Now he knew why. As they crawled through the shaft, another explosion rocked the compound. Jack pulled Ari close as dust and sparks rained down. Behind them, voices echoed, human voices. "Target is in Sector C. Orders are confirmed. Recover the child. Use lethal force if necessary." Jack's heart turned to stone. They weren't coming to help her. They were coming to take her, even if it meant killing him. He exited into the armory. 2 soldiers stood guard. Jack didn't hesitate. A quick stun shot to one, a bone-crushing strike to the other. No deaths, but no mercy either. He grabbed a portable pulse shield and wrapped it around Ari's small body. "No matter what happens, stay close. Do you understand?" She nodded bravely, her violet eyes glowing faintly in the dark. "Good girl." As they sprinted through smoke and flickering lights, Jack passed a monitor room, and there he saw it. The real attackers weren't aliens. They were Black Ops human agents. Unmarked armor, no insignia, off-book. Government shadows. Someone high up didn't want her to exist, didn't want peace, didn't want her truth to live. They made it to the rooftop. The emergency evac shuttle was still parked, but guards were posted. One of them, Lieutenant Rains, was Jack's old squad mate. Jack raised his rifle. "Step aside, Rains." Rains hesitated. "Jack, don't do this. They told us the kid is dangerous. A weapon. She's a child." "No, she's proof of what we were never supposed to do." Jack's voice cracked. "She's my daughter." A beat of silence. Then Rains lowered his weapon. "Go." Jack didn't wait. He dashed to the shuttle, fired up the engines, and roared into the sky as bullets and lasers screamed past. Behind them, the base grew smaller. Below them, betrayal smoldered. But in Jack's arms was something worth more than any mission. A child who had never chosen this war. A daughter who only wanted to be held. Beyond the reach of war. Across frozen skies and forgotten moons, they found a village hidden by silence and starlight. A place the galaxy thought extinct. There, the child began to remember, and Jack began to understand who she really was. The shuttle shuddered as it entered the moon's atmosphere. No signal, no navigation support, just black ice and ancient fog. Jack piloted by instinct now. guided only by old resistance maps, passed secretly from one hand to another, a whisper of a place that had survived every purge. Ari sat quietly beside him, eyes locked on the swirling clouds beyond the glass. She said nothing, but her fingers trembled, not in fear, but in memory. As if she'd been here before. They landed in silence. No landing pad, no reception, only an endless field of blue leaf trees and snow that shimmered like stardust. But as Jack stepped out, something stirred. Not machines, not weapons. Voices. Soft, melodic, alien. Figures emerged from the mistillery, elders with pale skin and glowing tattoos. No one raised a weapon. No one spoke a word. They looked at Ari and bowed. The village was carved into the mountainside, structures grown, not built. Trees spiraled into homes. Light came from crystals, not wires, and everywhere, silence was not empty, it was sacred. Jack stood in awe. I've never seen anything like this. Ari smiled faintly. It's where she came from, Mama. Jack turned. You remember her? Ari nodded. She told me, if I was ever in danger, come here. She said, this place protects the blood of the bridge. Jack frowned. What does that mean? A voice answered from behind. It means you brought us the future. An elder stepped forward, tall, cloaked, blind in one eye but sharp as the stars. I am Elder Rael, he said. This village is the last of the hollow seed. We are the keepers of balance, those who never chose sides in your war. We protected her mother. Now we protect her daughter. Jack lowered his rifle. I'm not here to bring harm. We know, the elder said. She called you by your soul. Long before you knew who she was. The days passed gently. For the first time, Ari laughed. She played with the village children. She whispered to birds. She drew stars on the walls with her fingers and they glowed. Jack watched her, heart full, but questions mounting. She's changing, he told Elder Rael one evening. Stronger, smarter, almost connected to everything here. She is awakening, Rael said. She is the bridge child, the firstborn of two bloodlines, destined to unite what were tried to tear. Jack looked into the forest where Ari chased glowing insects. She's still just a girl, Rael smiled softly. And yet, the storm follows her. That night, Jack walked past Ari's room. She was asleep, but her hands glowed faintly. Symbols danced in the air above her palms, Zalari, glyphs, and human numbers. He whispered, What are you becoming, my little star? But before he could sleep, an urgent voice called to him from the village edge. A scout, breathless, pale. They found us, he whispered. Humans, not military, something worse. Jack's blood ran cold. The village had one rule, no conflict, no blood. But now war was coming to paradise, in a place untouched by war. It wasn't the enemy who struck first, it was a friend. And when betrayal opened the door, the child they called powerless awoke. The village slept beneath silver leaves. Jack stood watch near the crystalline gate. He hadn't rested in days, and he didn't trust the quiet anymore. It was the kind of silence that came before something broke. He thought of Ari finally, smiling again, running, laughing, free. He didn't know tonight would change everything. Inside the elder hall, a secret meeting was taking place. It wasn't the village leaders. It wasn't the soldiers. It was Lieutenant Rains, Jack's old squad mate. He had followed Jack to the village not out of loyalty, but for a reward. I turned off the tracker. On the shuttle, like you said, Rains whispered into the communicator. They still trust me, especially him. The voice on the other end crackled. You'll be extracted at dawn. Make sure the child is isolated. Rains looked out the window at the glowing trees. She's not just a kid. She's something else now. Something dangerous. At sunrise, Jack walked with Ari through the misty grove. She picked wild fruit and fed it to the small floating creatures around her. Their wings sparkled. They circled her like stars around a sun. Jack smiled. They like you. They listen, Ari said softly. They say danger is near. Jack's expression darkened. Later that morning, the gates of the village opened without warning. Not from the outside, from within. And that's when it happened. A dark aircraft pierced through the clouds, a human gunship, flying low and silent. Elder Rael rushed to the central tower, who opened the seal. Then came the blast. The tower exploded in light. Crystals shattered. Smoke poured across the mountaintop. Jack ran to Ari, scooped her into his arms. Behind him, he saw the traitor. Rain's gun in hand, regret in his eyes, but not enough to stop. They're coming. Rains shouted, "You don't understand. That girl isn't a miracle. She's a weapon." "No," Jack growled, stepping between him and Ari. "She's my daughter." Rains hesitated but fired anyway. Time slowed. The blast moved toward them hot, screaming, violent. And then Ari screamed. Not words, not fear, just a sound that wasn't human, wasn't Solari. It was something ancient. Everything stopped. The energy of the gun blast froze in the air, then reversed, like time itself obeyed her. Rains was thrown backward, his weapon melted in his hand. Around Ari, the air shimmered, symbols glowed. Her feet, lifted off the ground, light flowed through her skin like liquid stars. The floating creatures bowed. The trees bent toward her. She had awakened. And every soul in the village felt it. After the chaos, Rains was captured, silent and defeated. The village lay in ruin but not broken. Jack sat beside Ari, now asleep again. Wrapped in his jacket, Elder Rail stood beside him. She stopped the weapon with her will. The old alien whispered, "She bent time. That power hasn't been seen since the first cycle." Jack didn't respond. He looked at his daughter and finally understood. She wasn't born to be part of this war. She was born to end it. But the cost of peace might be her innocence. In a galaxy ruled by fear, it wasn't a soldier, a general, or a king who ended the war. It was a child, half human, half alien. And when she stepped forward, even the stars seemed to listen. The war had reached its boiling point. Human fleets circled the alien worlds. Solari dreadnoughts hovered above Earth's moons. Weapons were armed. Fingers trembled over launch codes. The galaxy held its breath, waiting for the first shot. But before it could be fired, a message interrupted every channel. Not from a politician, not from a military commander, from a child. Ari. The peace summit was hastily ranged at the edge of neutral space, on a station older than any war. Both sides attended. Reluctantly. Generals, senators, high commanders, all expecting a trap. But when the chamber doors opened, they did not see an army. They saw a barefoot girl, wrapped in a simple gray shawl, holding an old dog tag in one hand and a crystal from her mother's village in the other. Behind her walked Jack, no uniform, no rank, just a father standing behind his daughter. Gasps filled the room. "She's Solari. No, look at her eyes. She's human. She's both." And then silence. Ari walked to the center platform, stood alone beneath the light, and spoke. "I am not a weapon. I am not a mistake. I am a bridge between your fear and your future." Her voice echoed not loud, but clear. Every translator, every screen, broadcast her words in every tongue. "You call me a threat because I am proof. Proof that your hatred was never stronger than your humanity. My mother was Solari. My father is human, and I exist because they chose understanding, not war." A ripple of silence followed. Then an old Solari elder stood. He removed his war medallion and placed it on the ground. "I laid waste to cities, but her words have broken something deeper." One by one, others followed. A general placed his weapon down. A commander bowed. A human envoy whispered, "What now?" Ari smiled. She stepped down, walked toward Jack, and placed the dog tag in his hand. "I said I'd protect you," Jack whispered. She looked up at him. "You did. Now I protect everyone." 1 week later, the ceasefire was made permanent. Ari became the voice of the accord, neither human nor alien, but both. Her name was written in every treaty, every school book, every child's memory. Jack returned to the stars, but not alone. They traveled together, a father, a daughter, no longer running. No longer hunted. Just building peace, one world at a time. In a galaxy where war was the language of power, one child taught them a new word: hope. She didn't carry a weapon, she carried the future. And when she spoke, the galaxy listened.